Welcome back to Crystal Clear. I'm AwestruckVox, and let's talk about one of my favorite things in fiction. Villains. Or I guess the better word is antagonist, as Steven Universe doesn't have any true villains. Although that might change very soon. The Diamond Authority is finally redeemed. Yellow, blue, white, and sure, a lot of people may not be happy with it, but this is the reality we just have to deal with. And now that the diamonds are cool with Steven, what's next? While Steven Universe doesn't necessarily need to jump into a big bad immediately, there's no denying the show would lose traction. Imagine if everything here on out lacked an opposing force. It'd be essentially handing Steven a gold medal without really pushing himself any further. Here's the thing, the show can never be happily ever after as long as we see the after. That being said, there's 5 major threats I can see arising for what lies ahead, all presenting their own interesting conflicts for Steven and the Crystal Gems. First off, surviving alien races, which admittedly is what I'm hoping for the most. The Diamond Authority has colonized many planets for thousands of years. Due to the nature of this process, various species got wiped out either directly by gems, as we discovered through Yellow Diamond's dialogue in Jungle Moon, or through the planet and its resources gradually declining. However, Jungle Moon also alluded to some of these species surviving, like the many alien Stevani encounters. It's possible they migrated from that abandoned colony to the moon. Not to mention, the universe is a large place. I think the chances of Gemkind being the only intelligent life out there with the technology to traverse across the universe is very small. I think throughout the Gem Empire's reign, there have been aliens fortunate enough to escape and go under their radar unnoticed. Pink Diamond also rescued organic beings and kept them as pets, as seen in the opening dream featured in Change Your Mind. I think the survivors and descendants of these alien races could rear their head and band together, waging war against the diamonds, even though they begin to reform and change their ways. This would go beyond anything Steven has had to handle before. To the aliens, there could be no difference between a crystal gem and a homeworld gem. They'd either view Steven as a gem sympathizer, or once he discovers he's a gem hybrid, an abomination, an experiment by gems who doesn't realize how horrible he is. Communication is one thing, but trying to have others forgive the ones responsible for the genocide and massacre their people is a completely different playing field. One that Steven may not be prepared for. It would challenge Steven more than ever before that hugging, singing, and talking may not be the end-all to be-all. It would also have some real-life parallels to colonizations that's occurred all over our world, like with Native Americans or Africa. This would also further develop the Diamond Redemption arc, dealing with the biggest issue most people have with the concept of them being viewed as misguided. They have killed countless of people. It's time to address that, but let's say they don't go that route. How else could they tackle the complications of the diamonds changing their ways? Well, that brings us to our next option, Homeworld Gem factions. Should the diamonds actually change their ways? There may be Homeworld Gems who oppose this change in ideology and enjoy the way they've been living their life. Because of this, many fans speculate there could be a different kind of revolution. Homeworld Gems turning on the diamonds and targeting Steven. I know when I began scripting this, a Twitter user YSR719 suggested the exact same thing. Gems emerged with the programming of wanting to conquer planets and spread their influence across the galaxy. While many can be swayed by Steven's words and be more than pleased to hear the diamonds want to change their system as well, others, I imagine especially Soldier Gems, may not be thrilled by that idea. If it's not broken to them, why fix it? This would also allow the return of gems we've seen before. Gems who weren't so easily swayed by Steven's charm. To name off a few, Emerald, Aquamarine, Holly Blue Agate, Eyeball, and potentially even Jasper, setting up her own redemption arc as someone who refuses such a drastic change, but eventually caves in from her love for Pink Diamond and roots on Earth. The diamonds may be powerful, but they have their weaknesses, emotionally and physically. If Bismuth can create the breaking point to shatter a diamond, certainly other gems could devise a plan to put them out of commission. But let's say the narrative wants to take a break from the diamonds entirely. Well, that brings about another idea I would love to see. The human government. Humans have always been the most detached from everything in Steven Universe, despite having such prominent screen time. Considering Change Your Mind was the end of the story they wrote in 2011, it goes to show the humans actually never had a role in the climax of the series. But with a new chapter ahead of us, all of that can change. There's so many new gems seemingly residing on Earth. The newly healed uncorrupted gems, and the off-colors. Beach City may be fine with it, but this may allow us to finally have direct human intervention. The government wanting to control and repress Gemkind. noticing how just garnet, amethyst, and pearl seemingly brought danger to the planet. So what are all of these gems going to bring? Putting gems under strict rules, and even developing technology to harm them as an attempt to regulate their presence and activity on the planet. We never saw what happened to the hand ship Peridot, Lapis, and Jasper arrived in. Perhaps that can be recovered, the government replicating the gem destabilization prison cells, and that technology overall. This would give the townies a chance to shine and be integral into the plot, using their experiences with the gems, all of their encounters throughout the series, and how they've always managed to save the day, despite the fact the gems did attract those dangers. The townies would also be able to aid any captured or controlled gems, as gem technology may not affect them. Lars could also be heavily involved in the storyline front and center, being the biggest example of a human affected by the gems living on Earth. What would happen to him as a result of gem regulation? According to the podcast, Steven and the gems have always been off the grid to the government, but this could finally put his status into question. Could Steven become government property? This would also be a conflict that doesn't require going into space, or introducing Homeworld Gems into the mix, as a way to keep things intense or interesting. Everything could be contained to Earth, but let's say, nah, that's not it, and the show does still want to focus on the diamonds. Well, that takes me to number 4, Diamond Relapse. Perhaps the diamonds aren't able to commit to the new lifestyle, finding a need to colonize and conquer other planets. This could be another way to shed light on the redemption arcs, as it's not as easy and cut and dry as it was made out to be. This may be viewed as repetitive. I, for one, would be kind of irritated by it, but by the same merit, it's realistic. People relapse when trying to better themselves all the time. For the diamonds, who have been doing this for eons, old habits would absolutely die hard. Alright, so what if the diamonds don't relapse? What if this redemption arc just sticks? After all, Peridot had a relapse, so maybe they won't do the same thing twice. Well, this brings us to my final option, the creator of GemKind. Look, someone had to create the gems, including the diamonds. Even White stated she's supposed to be perfect, questioning herself after exposing a flaw. It just feels like the diamonds were created to fill the roles they were designed for. If the diamonds in GemKind are no longer performing said roles, their creator may catch wind of this and finally step in. Displeased with their conduct, Steven would then have to handle a new threat, have a new parent to talk down, but find it harder than ever before. This would allow us to explore more of the origins of GemKind and the diamonds, how they were made and their true purpose, where they came from, and how Homeworld finally reached its current state. I know a lot of us are rooting for Sneeple, but Rebecca Sugar kind of debunked that in a recent interview, essentially stating Sneeple were just meant to be conspiracy theories in the show, and that they're a conspiracy theory in the fandom, that it's never going to be something we're actually going to see in the show. It had a nice run while it lasted, but let me give you guys the mic. What would you want to see in a new antagonist? Let us know in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts to me at AwestruckVox or at Roundtable Vids. We're also on Instagram. Special thanks to ARTWITHKODA for creating an awesome thumbnail. For more of his wonderful art, you can find him on Tumblr and Instagram at ARTWITHKODA, and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Link down below in the description. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of the channel or supporting us on Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, throw it a like, and subscribe to the Roundtable so you never miss any of our Steven content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. You know who should be the new villain? Cookie Cat. Just look at him. There's no way anyone's that happy without being a psychopath.